I pulled a hotel keycard out of his gym bag, and 614 glared up at me, a room we've never booked, while the shower hissed behind my back. The bag was half-zipped, like he'd meant to hide it and ran out of seconds. My fingers moved anyway. Not slowly, not carefully, fast, like my body already knew the answer and just needed proof. A folded receipt. A smear of glitter on the lining that wasn't mine. A sweet perfume trapped in nylon that didn't belong in our house. The shower cut off. Water stopped. Silence hit. Then bare feet, one step, two, on tile. I shoved the keycard into my pocket so hard it scraped my thigh through denim, zipped the bag, and dropped it back like I'd never touched it. My hands were steady, but my mouth went dry like paper. He walked out with a towel at his waist, humming, acting weightless. He kissed my forehead and reached for his coffee like he didn't have a whole second life inside that bag. Good workout? I asked, watching his face like it was a lock I needed to pick. Yeah, he said. Ran into Mark. He didn't say it like a memory. He said it like a line. His phone lit up on the counter, just a banner before he flipped it face down. Tonight? He saw me see it. His eyes darted, then he smiled too wide. Work's crazy, he added, unasked. Might stay late. He'd been doing this thing lately, phone in the shower, a new cologne that wasn't his, and messages that arrived like little knocks at the door when I was standing right there. He used to leave his phone anywhere. Now it never left his hand. He leaned on the counter, studying me. You're quiet. I gave him the version of me he liked. Just tired. He nodded like he'd passed a test, and I hated how much relief flashed across his face. He disappeared into the bedroom to dress, and I stood at the sink listening to drawers open and close, waiting for the moment he'd remember the bag, remember the pocket, remember the card. If he checked his bag and didn't feel it, if he patted his pockets and realized it was gone. My phone was on the counter. My hands hovered over it like I was about to cut a wire. He came back in a navy button-down he only wore when he needed to look good. He grabbed his keys, his wallet, then paused, like he'd heard something. You seen my watch? He asked. His voice was casual. His eyes weren't. I shook my head. He found it in 10 seconds on the dresser. He hadn't been searching for the watch. He'd been searching my face. Then he was at the door, already smiling again, already safe. Love you, I said, because saying anything else would have started a war I wasn't ready to fight without ammo. The door clicked. His footsteps faded. And I had a keycard to room 614 burning in my pocket like a secret I stole back. I opened our shared banking app before the adrenaline could drain out. There it was. A charge from the Riverfront Hotel, the one with valet parking and a lobby that smells like money. The one he'd called a waste when I'd once suggested a weekend stay. Under it, another charge. A clean, harmless store name I didn't recognize. Then more. Restaurants he'd never taken me to. A flower shop. And then one line that made my throat tighten. A jewelry store. For half a second, my brain tried to save him. A surprise. A gift. A proposal redo. Some stupid romantic gesture that required secrecy because he wanted to make it special. Then I looked at the dates. The jewelry store was yesterday afternoon, exactly when he texted me, in a meeting. Can't talk. The hotel charge was last Friday, exactly when he told me he was driving out of town. My hope didn't even die dramatically. It just collapsed, quiet and ugly. I grabbed the iPad on the counter, the one synced to his accounts because he'd set it up for the house. The wallpaper was us, smiling, like a threat. A notification slid across the top before I even unlocked it. My stomach lurched, because this was it. This was her. This was the name I'd been waiting for. I can still taste you. Same room? My fingers went numb as I stared at the sender. Not a woman's name. Not even a nickname. Mike, jeweler. The screen glowed blue on the countertop like police lights, and my pocket still held the keycard. 6:14, tonight. I didn't cry. I didn't text him. I didn't call anyone. I opened the hotel's website, found their phone number, and rested my thumb on call like a trigger. Because if room 614 existed for him, it was going to exist for me too. I hit call on the hotel number and kept my eyes on the front door like it might swing open any second. One forgotten wallet. One I left my laptop. One wrong breath, and he'd know I was inside his lies. Riverfront Hotel, how may I help you? A woman answered, smooth as silk. I made my voice smaller, sweeter. The kind of voice people don't suspect. Hi, my husband booked something for tonight. He left his keycard at home. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but, can you confirm it's still on? A pause. Keyboard clicks. I can confirm we have a reservation for Mr. Miller, she said. My throat tightened. For when? For this evening. This evening. Not next week. Not sometime soon. Tonight. And there's a note, she added, like she wasn't supposed to. A special arrangement. My stomach dropped. What kind? I can't share details, she said, but her tone softened. There is a delivery scheduled. Delivery. Jewelry. Flowers. Something staged. And still, I can still taste you. Same room? That message sat in my head like a bruise you can't stop touching. Okay, I said, steady. If I come to the desk, will they give me a key? We'll need identification, she said. I'm sorry. I understand, I whispered, like I wasn't about to do something insane. I hung up and didn't move for a full second. Then my brain went razor calm. I went straight to his closet and slid my hand into the pocket of the suit he wore on his site visit. A paper edge scraped my fingertips. I pulled it out and my vision tunneled. A valet ticket. Riverfront Hotel. Last Friday. I lifted my phone, snapped a photo, and the second the camera shutter clicked, my phone buzzed. Running late. Don't wait up. The timing was so perfect it felt like he'd heard the photo. I didn't reply. I didn't even breathe the wrong way. I just put the valet ticket back exactly where it was, like I could erase the moment. My hand went to the top drawer of our dresser without thinking, the one he never used. Under folded t-shirts I didn't touch, my fingers hit paper. An envelope. Plain. Hidden like something that mattered. I slid it out, heart hammering against my ribs like a warning. Inside was a hotel-branded card and his handwriting, messy, confident, like he owned the world. Tonight. Riverfront. Wear the red dress. Trust me. My red dress. Not a dress. Not something nice. The exact one. For half a second, my brain tried to hand me the soft version of this story. He's planning something. He's trying. He's surprising you. Then the other version snapped back over it like a mask. Same room? The envelope shook in my hand, and one brutal thought landed clean. He wasn't choosing between me and her. He was scheduling us. I slid the card back into the envelope and put it exactly where I found it. Perfect. Invisible. Like I'd never been there. Then I opened my phone and took screenshots of everything I could, bank charges, the hotel number, his texts, until my camera roll looked like evidence. I turned on location services for myself and turned off notifications that could betray me in a hotel lobby. My thumb hovered over his name. I didn't call. If I called, he'd lie better. I grabbed my keys, took the keycard from my pocket, and laid it in my palm like a decision. Room 614. Tonight. If I stepped into that lobby, there was no going back. I set the keycard in my cup holder where I could see it the whole drive, like a countdown I couldn't stop. And as I pulled out of the driveway, another thought cut deeper than the cheating. Someone told him about the red dress. Not him guessing. Not luck. Someone who'd seen it. Someone who'd talked about it. A friend. My mom. His best friend's girlfriend. Someone close enough to smile at me and still help him set the stage. The river was only one direction from here. Room 614 was waiting. And whatever surprise he'd planned, whoever he'd invited into it, I was going to walk in while it was still happening. I parked across the street from the riverfront and stared at the glowing 614 in my head like it was already tattooed there. The valet stand was busy. Laughter. Suit jackets. Date night perfume. Normal people walking into a normal hotel, like nobody in this building was about to break my life in half. I stepped out of my car and kept my face neutral, because the second I looked like a wife hunting, I'd become a story for the front desk. Inside, the lobby smelled like citrus and money. The kind of place where the carpets are thick enough to swallow footsteps and secrets. I walked straight to the desk with my ID already in my hand. The same woman from the phone call wasn't there, but the man behind the counter had the same practiced smile. Good evening. My husband booked a reservation, I said, light and polite, like I was excited. Ethan Miller. He told me to meet him. His fingers moved over the keyboard, and I watched his eyes flicker the way people do when they see a note they weren't expecting. Yes, he said. Mr. Miller. This evening. My skin tightened. He left a keycard at home earlier, I added, sliding my ID forward. I'm Mrs. Miller. The man checked the name, checked my face, checked the screen again, then nodded like this was all perfectly normal. Of course, he said, and for a second my throat loosened, until he reached under the counter and produced not one key sleeve, but two. Your husband requested an additional key be prepared, he said. An additional key. Not for you, exactly. Just, additional. He placed both sleeves on the counter, and my eyes snapped to the handwriting on one of them. 614. My fingers closed around the key like it might jump away. Is he here yet? I asked, still smiling, still playing. Another quick glance at the screen. He checked in earlier. Earlier. My stomach went hollow so fast it felt like falling. I thought he was running late, I said, and it came out softer than I meant. The clerk's smile didn't change. He may have stepped out. I nodded like that answer satisfied me, like I wasn't hearing a door slam in my head. And the delivery? I asked, casual, like I was teasing. He mentioned a delivery. The clerk's eyes flicked again, just once, to the side of the desk. It hasn't arrived yet, he said, but we'll call the room when it does. Call the room. The room he was already inside. I slid the key into my purse and turned away before my face betrayed me. The elevators were mirrored, the kind that force you to watch yourself. I stared at my own eyes and felt something ugly rise up, less sadness, more fury. Not because he cheated, because he did it with scheduling and notes and a concierge smile. The doors opened on the 6th floor with a soft chime that felt obscene. The hallway was quiet, muffled by carpet. Doors in neat rows. Neutral paintings. A place built to hide noise. I walked towards 614 like I belonged there. Halfway down, my phone buzzed. On my way up. From him. My pulse jumped so hard it almost made me laugh. He was here and texting me like he wasn't. I didn't answer. I didn't even look down again. I just kept moving. When I reached 614, my hand hovered over the handle without touching it. The Do Not Disturb sign was already hanging there. That tiny cardboard rectangle did more damage than anything else so far. It meant intention. It meant time. It meant someone didn't want staff walking in. I pressed my ear toward the door. Nothing. Then, faintly, so faint I almost convinced myself it was the air system, soft music. The low thump of bass, like someone wanted the mood to stay warm. I pulled the key out of my purse and slid it into the lock. Green light. The door opened an inch, slow, because my hand wouldn't let it move faster. The chain stopped it. I saw a sliver of the room, dim lamplight, a corner of the bed, a jacket tossed over a chair like a man had undressed in a hurry. Then a sound. A woman's laugh, close and quick, like she'd just been kissed. My hand went numb on the handle. A man's voice answered her, low, familiar, lazy. His voice. I backed away so fast my shoulder brushed the wall. The air left my lungs in a single harsh burst, and for 1 second I actually thought I might make a noise that would give me away. Footsteps approached the door from inside. I moved on instinct, slipping into the alcove by the ice machine, half hidden behind a fake plant that suddenly felt like my only protection. The door to 614 opened and closed, someone stepping out. Not him. A woman walked into the hallway wearing a short black dress and heels in her hand, hair mussed like she'd been pulled by fingers. She didn't look like a stranger in a hotel. She looked like someone who knew exactly where she belonged. She turned her head slightly as if listening, and I froze. If she looked 2 inches more to the left, she'd see me. Instead she walked toward the elevator, texting with one hand like the night was a game she'd played before. The elevator swallowed her. I stayed pressed against the wall, skin buzzing, brain trying to keep up. He'd texted me on my way up while she was leaving his room. Not his late night. Not his work. A handoff. I stepped out of the alcove, and my legs felt too light, like they didn't trust the floor. My phone buzzed again. Wear the red dress. You'll like this. My nails bit into my palm. He wanted me to come up here and smile for a surprise while the scent of her was still in the sheets. I turned back towards 614, and that's when I saw him. Not through the door. In the hallway. A man in a crisp blazer approached, carrying a slim black case like it was fragile and expensive. He had that careful posture of someone delivering something they can't afford to drop. He stopped at 614 and checked the number on the door like he didn't trust his own eyes. Then he knocked. I couldn't move, couldn't blink. The door opened from inside, chain still on at first, then unlatched. Warm light spilled into the hallway. My husband's voice floated out, bright and friendly. Hey, you're right on time. The delivery man smiled, professional. Mike. From the jeweler. Mike. A real Mike. A real jeweler. My stomach twisted in a new direction, because now I could see how he'd done it. He wasn't just cheating. He was building a stage. Props. Timing. A gift with a ribbon to cover the blood. Mike stepped inside, case in hand, and the door clicked shut behind him. I stood there in the quiet hallway, holding a key to the same room, listening to the soft murmur of voices through thick hotel walls, and my phone lit up one more time like a taunt. Come up. I'm waiting. I walked back to the door, slow and silent, and slid my keycard into the lock again. Green. My hand wrapped around the handle. And this time I didn't stop at the chain. The lock flashed green and the door swung open like it had been waiting for me. Warm lamplight spilled out first. Then the smell hit, sweet cologne layered over something floral, like someone tried to drown out a mistake with roses. My husband turned from the window with that bright, practiced grin already on his face. There you are. He didn't look guilty. He looked excited, like I'd walked into the version of tonight he'd rehearsed. And then I saw the room. Rose petals scattered in a lazy trail from the entryway toward the bed. A champagne bucket sweating on the table. My red dress hanging from the closet door like it had a seat saved at the show. My red dress. Not at home. Not in my closet. Here. My skin went tight. How did you? Trust me, he said, like it was cute. Like it wasn't terrifying. He stepped closer, hands open, welcoming. I wanted tonight to be perfect. Mike stood near the couch with the slim black case, polite smile fixed like a mask. He looked between us like he'd just realized he wasn't delivering jewelry, he was delivering himself into a disaster. "You're early," my husband added, and the word clipped at the end. I smiled back with teeth I didn't feel. Traffic. His eyes flicked to my clothes. Not the red dress. Not what he planned. Something passed over his face, annoyance, maybe panic, then he smoothed it out. "You can change," he said quickly. "It's right there." I didn't move toward the dress. I didn't take my eyes off him. "So this is the surprise." He laughed like I'd made him proud. "Yeah. I wanted to do something special. We've been busy. Busy." That was his word for hiding. Mike cleared his throat. "Hi, I'm Mike, from the jeweler," I finished, watching my husband flinch at how calmly I said it. Mike nodded, still trying to keep it professional. "Mr. Miller asked me to bring the piece personally." My husband spread his arms like a magician. "Okay," he said, too loud. "Let's do it. Let's make it a moment." A moment. Like I hadn't just heard a woman laugh through his door an hour ago. He reached for my hand. I let him take it, because I wanted him close enough to watch his face break. His palm was warm, steady, confident. That confidence made me feel sick. Mike opened the case with careful fingers. Black velvet inside, a piece of jewelry catching the light like it was trying to be beautiful enough to erase everything else. My husband's expression softened into something almost real. "I know I've been distant," he said, voice dropping into that low, intimate tone he used when he wanted me to forgive without questions. "But I've been doing this for you." For a split second, the room tried to turn into a romance. The petals, the dress, the jewelry, the story he was selling. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket, sharp and ugly, and the spell snapped. My husband's eyes darted down automatically. He couldn't help it. Like he was listening for the exact second his lies might get exposed. I didn't pull the phone out yet. I kept my gaze on him. "Say it," I murmured. "Say what you've been doing." He blinked. "Planning this." I nodded slowly. "And staying late at work." His smile twitched. "Yeah. And the hotel last Friday." His hand tightened around mine just a fraction. Mike shifted his weight, uncomfortable. The silence was getting loud. I finally pulled my phone out and let the screen glow between us. I didn't show him photos. Not yet. I opened the message thread that had started all of this and held it where both men could see. My husband's face didn't change. Mike leaned in, curious. I tapped the line and read it out loud, each word clean and flat. "I can still taste you." "Same room?" Mike's eyebrows shot up so hard it looked painful. "Whoa," he said before he could stop himself. My husband's fingers went cold in mine. I felt it happen. I watched Mike's eyes move to the contact name at the top of the thread. "Mike, jeweler." Mike stared at it for a full second, then looked at me like I'd handed him a snake. That's not me." My husband's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Mike lifted his hands slightly, palms out, like he needed everyone to know he wasn't part of whatever this was. "Ma'am, I don't text clients like that. I don't text anyone like that." My husband laughed once, sharp and fake. "Okay, hold on." Mike kept going, because now he was scared. "My business number ends in 28. That thread," he pointed, hesitant, "that number ends in 61. That's not my phone." The room went so quiet I could hear the fizz dying in the champagne bottle. My husband tried to pull my hand closer, like touch could rewrite reality. "Babe, listen." "Don't," I said, and my voice finally turned into something that could cut. His eyes widened like he was offended. "I can explain. You named her Mike, jeweler," I said, each word landing harder. "So if I ever saw it, I'd assume it was business." Mike sucked in a breath and took a step back toward the door, like he wanted out before the next thing exploded. My husband's face started doing that thing, where the expression can't decide whether to charm or to threaten. He tried charm first. "It's not what you think," he said quickly. "That message, she was joking. It's stupid. It doesn't mean." "It means you had her in this room," I said. He shook his head too fast. "No." I tilted my chin toward the bed. One pillow was slightly dented on the far side. A long strand of dark hair lay across the white sheet like a signature. "Not mine." My husband followed my gaze and froze. Mike glanced at the bed, then looked away like he'd just seen something he wished he hadn't. My husband's throat bobbed. "Okay," he whispered, and the word sounded like surrender. Then he tried to grab the story back with both hands. "I wanted to surprise you," he blurted. "That's why the dress is here. That's why Mike is here. I was trying to fix things while you were tasting someone else," I said, not raising my voice, because quiet made it worse. His eyes flashed. "I made a mistake." "No," I said. "You made a system." He flinched like I'd slapped him. And right then, right as his face started to crack into something real, there was a knock at the door. 3 quick taps. Too confident. My husband's head snapped toward it. Mike's entire body went rigid. A woman's voice floated through the wood, light and familiar, like she'd been here before. "Ethan," she called, amused. "Open up. I left my earring." My husband didn't move. Mike didn't move. The rose petals sat between us like blood drops in a beautiful pattern. And I stayed holding my phone up, the screen still glowing with "I can still taste you," while the knock came again, harder this time, like whoever was outside thought she still belonged in room 614. The knock came again, harder, like the door belonged to her. "Ethan," she called, amused. "Open up. I left my earring." My husband stared at the handle like it was a live wire. His lips moved, no sound coming out. I walked past him and flipped the latch. The door swung open. She was still in the short black dress, hair messed up like hands had been in it, heels dangling from 2 fingers like an afterthought. Her eyes hit mine and froze, just long enough for confusion to turn into annoyance. "Oh," she said. My husband's voice cracked behind me. "Sophie." So she had a name. Sophie looked past me into the room, rose petals, champagne, the red dress hanging like bait. Then she smiled, sharp and satisfied, like she'd just watched a plan land. "Wow," she said to him. "You actually did it." I didn't move. "Did what?" Her eyes slid back to me. "You're the red dress," she said, like she was identifying an item on a list. Then she looked at him again. "You really brought her." My stomach turned hot. "How do you know about my dress?" Sophie didn't even hesitate. "Because he asked which one would hit you the hardest." My husband stepped forward fast, voice low and pleading. "Stop. Right now." Sophie lifted her phone like she'd been waiting for this. One tap, and she turned the screen toward me. A photo. My husband in this room, grinning like a kid, holding up a jewelry box to the mirror. Under it, his text. "She'll never see it coming." No one spoke. The hotel's soft music kept playing like it didn't understand. Sophie reached into her purse and pulled out a tiny diamond stud. "I did leave my earring," she said, calm as ice. She walked past me and tossed it onto the bed. It landed on the white sheet like a signature. Then she brushed by, shoulder grazing mine on purpose, and left the room without looking back. The door clicked shut. My husband turned to me with wet eyes, hands out like he could gather the night back into his arms. "I swear." I raised my hand. Not to hit him. To end the noise. I walked to the champagne, lifted the bottle, and poured it into the ice bucket until the fizz died and the room filled with the sound of money and pretending draining away. Then I looked at Mike. He barely moved the whole time, just a pale, silent witness with his case in his hands. "Is it engraved?" I asked. Mike swallowed and nodded. He opened the case, eyes down like he didn't want to be seen holding the proof. "It says," he murmured, "to my forever. Forever." He carved forever into metal while he scheduled bodies in the same room. I slid my wedding ring off my finger and set it on the table beside the keycard sleeve. 614, my husband made a sound like he couldn't breathe. "Please." I didn't look at him. I picked up the key sleeve, turned it so the number faced him, and spoke quietly, cleanly. "Pick one story. You don't get both." I walked to the door and opened it. Cool hallway air hit my face, carrying the faint scent of rose petals underfoot, sweet, crushed, ruined. Behind me, he said my name once. The elevator doors closed, and his voice disappeared.